Hi, this is my TED Talk, and I'll be talking about animal extinction and the effect it has on the human population and everything in general, just how it affects the world. My prime example will be Arctic wolves. To start off, extinction can be healthy. It can be good for the environment. It can be good for human beings and the rest of the world. It can be a positive influence in just general. But we've exceeded our healthy limit of extinction. We've gotten to the point where it's now no longer good. I'm going to start talking about the Arctic wolves. The Arctic wolves are basically a very, very rare breed of wolf that have a drastic impact on nature. There are very few animals that can actually live in the Arctic environments. Very few predators and very few consumers and producers, especially producers. But these predators up here are basically slowly dying off because we're moving up further and further north for things like gold mining, research, just in general things like that. The researchers, they're a little bit more respectful, but the gold miners and just the miners in general are going up there and they're destroying all these habitats where these animals are living. The Arctic wolf primarily lives in northern America, and there's about 200,000 of them in the world. About 100,000 of those are in captivity, and somewhere between 98 and 100,000 are actually wild. There's a little bit of a sketchiness through there, but basically what's going on is, for one, people like these animals as pets because they're very much like dogs. They take very well to humans. They're very gentle wolves, actually. And two, a lot of these wolves are being taken into zoos because they're getting into environments. They're slowly moving south. They're moving away from their normal hunting areas because of the fact that we're going in there and we're killing off their environment. We're taking away their home. This is really unacceptable. We can't keep going this way because these animals that are moving away, the ox that live up there and all the other animals that these wolves usually consume, are now populating more and more and more, and without that population control up there, we're in turn hurting ourselves. They're going to get to a point where they will no longer have resources. They'll eat up their resources and die off too. We can't let that happen. Not only that, these Arctic wolves are mating with our dogs that we have up there, and that's not necessarily such a good thing either because we're creating a different breed of animal, and we really don't need that. We don't need a variation in there. Also, to talk about just extinction and how it affects, when these animals go extinct, it's a ripple effect. It's making it so that every other animal that somehow got produced from it or consumed it, or this animal somehow contributed to something, it's now affected. And whether we really want to accept it or not, all animals are affected by each other, and we're considered animals. We are a different type of animal, yes, but we are animals. So we in turn are being affected by this. We are getting that chain reaction. It may not be now, it may not be 10 years from now, but I guarantee you by the time you have great-grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will be affected by global warming, extinction, water pollution, groundwater pollution. And going on that subject with groundwater pollution, 2% of the world's water is groundwater. We drink groundwater. That's the water we get. We have to filter that, and that's because we're polluting it. It's becoming an increasingly big problem just because of the fact that it's harder and harder to find more and more groundwater. We're using it. We're polluting it. We're diluting everything, which, I mean, there are some dramatic people out there who take this to a dramatic level, but it might be time to take this kind of stuff to a dramatic level. because these Arctic wolves and these animals up there that we're making extinct and in general around the world, like sharks and such, have a huge contribute. They contribute a lot to just the overall health of the planet. And not to mention, when we're moving out and taking more and more space, we're taking up space for oxygen, we're taking up resources. We are using up our planet. And it's probably not going to affect us, but it's going to affect our great-grandchildren. It's going to affect everyone. So my basis here is be aware. Turn off your lights before you go to bed. Be thinking about this. Be talking to people. Be knowledgeable. Just in general, be knowledgeable of what's going on in this world. Think for yourself. Don't let anybody else's opinions or views become your own just because they're a parent, a brother, a sister. It's okay to listen to them. They're knowledgeable too. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying think for yourself. What do you want to leave this world? What kind of mark do you want to leave on here? And how do you want to leave your planet, and what condition do you want to leave it for your grandchildren? Okay, that's my TED Talk. Thank you for listening.